How's it going, everyone? Wayne the Unknown here, and welcome to another episode of Geeking Out, where we basically discuss everything nerd and geek related. I'm joined here by Luke Boyton, owner of the Sons of Obi-Wan Saber Academy in Australia. How you doing, Luke?
Top of the morning, sir. How are you?
Good. Again, thank you for coming on to want to talk about your academy and what you do and everything for it.
Yeah, pleasure, man. Sorry it's taken a couple of days. We've been flooded in. We're having massive. So Australia just spent 2 years burning, and we've now spent a year flooding. So I haven't been able to come to work for the last 2 days. This is my first day back in.
Yeah,
So
no,
it's been pretty crazy.
I
Yeah.
remember seeing on the news a while back how you guys were just dealing with fire after fire.
So we'll get into the touring later, but when we tour with the biggest convention company in Australia, Supernova, and when those fires happened, they followed us. So we were driving from Sydney to Brisbane, which is about 1,000 kilometres. I don't know what that is in miles. I don't speak freedom units. The bushfires followed us all the way up, and then we had to go right inland and drive through the bushfires to come back after the gig. It was chaos.
Oh, jeez.
Like we had all of these, the fires started on the coast and moved inland. And so what happened was there were all these kangaroos by the side of the road that had just been hopping madly for hours on end, and they were just absolutely exhausted. And you'd be sitting there, and then they'd just jump out in front of you because they saw the light. It was crazy, man. Crazy.
Yeah, it's like over here in the States, if a deer sees you in the headlights, they just freeze, and next, you could potentially hit one.
Absolutely. Yeah. Problem is kangaroos jump. That's the problem. You never know. Like I've had them go onto the side of my car, come in front of it. We've missed a couple. Yeah.
That's crazy. So, what made you want to come up with Sons of Obi-Wan Saber Academy?
Okay, so I was a school teacher for 6 years. I was a behavioural and learning support teacher, and I loved the kids. I loved the teaching. Hated the system. The system wasn't preparing kids for the world. It's an old 1850s industrialised teaching system where you wear what I tell you to wear, you turn up, you do what I tell you to do, you move when the bell goes. And I was trying to find a way to teach usable life skills. So I started this as a test bed for new forms of teaching using sabers and theatre combat.
Nice. How long have you been doing it for now?
It was our 7th birthday 2 weekends ago. So as far as I know, we're the only full-time saber school in the world. This is our gig. Monday to Thursday, we teach 30-odd lessons a week. We teach cognitive and dialectical behavior therapy through theatre combat. So cognitive behavior therapy is thinking about how you think, and dialectical behavior therapy is managing the emotions that come up when you're challenged and learning new things. So Monday to Thursdays, we work with, what do we got? We've got Spectrum, we do cerebral palsy, acquired brain injury, global developmental delay. We work with at-risk youth. We work with schools. We work with homeschoolers, which is good because those kids never get to do any sport, and this is something fun. All of that stuff. And then on the weekends, we tour around Australia doing shows. Like 2 weekends ago, we were in Perth, which is a 6-hour flight right across the other side of the country. Weekend before that was Sydney Supernova. In 3 weeks, we're off to Maryborough, which is about 1,500 kilometres north of us. Month after that, we're in Rockhampton, which is about 2,500 kilometres north of us.
Yeah, you guys are definitely busy.
Birthday parties and weddings and bar mitzvahs and whatever people want us for in between.
Nice. So, what made you just come up with what made you come up with a name for this, and what was the concept behind it and everything?
I'm obviously a nerd. Like Star Wars is my jam. Don't get me wrong, but I'm a hardcore movie nerd. I was watching Sons of Anarchy when I was coming up with the idea for the business. And I liked, without the violence, drugs and guns, I like the brotherhood idea in that, where it's a place where you get to be you and you're supported by everyone around you. And Obi-Wan's the perfect Jedi. So we're the philosophical sons of Obi-Wan.
Nice. Do you remember what it was like when you first opened the academy?
Terrifying, dude. So as I said, as far as I know, this hasn't been done in the world before. The way I explain it is, if you want to be a plumber, go and talk to a plumber to find out what you need to do. This business doesn't have a plumber, right? So one of the, how I said we teach cognitive behavior therapy, right? The first thing we teach you when you come here is you suck, okay? If you don't suck, you don't learn. It's building resilience and getting people comfortable with the idea of failure, right? And, once you understand that making mistakes is part of the learning process and not something to be punished, that's where people grow. So, dude, I sucked for 6 years. What I had in my head when I started and what it's turned into are two completely different things. I made all my 5-year goals in the first 6 months. I made all of my 10-year goals in the next 6 months. And then after that, I just realized I can't, this has to become what it needs to become, not what I want it to become. So it's just rolled like a blob and it just flops wherever it needs to go. I'm a big fan of saying yes and working the details out later. And that's allowed us all of these really amazing opportunities and the ability to be able to do something really cool and bring it to Australia and next year the world. We're hoping to launch at Celebration London next year, which we're very excited about. We're trying to raise money for that at the moment.
So basically, you want to take this internationally from like rest Europe, UK, the States, everywhere else.
It's just the concept, dude. What we've built here. I started this to work with kids on the spectrum, to teach kids resilience, right? That's where I started. But then I found out that everyone's special needs in their own way and everyone needs to learn the same lessons. You suck, it's fine. Don't worry about it. By the end of the lesson, you'll suck less. But guess what? You're going to suck again tomorrow because we're learning something new. So once you understand that failure is part of the process, that's my gift to the world. Dude, we make phenomenal lightsabers you can chuck out of a 2-story building on the concrete and they work. And we tour and we do all this, but that's the core of the Suns, man, is just getting people to relax and be in the moment. And a school teaches rhetoric, but we're an academy because academy teaches you about you, and that's what I want to bring to the world, man. And you get to do it with lightsabers, which is rad.
I mean, from the pictures I see in the video you guys do, you all seem to love this, and the students you have seem to enjoy it as well.
Oh, dude, it's really amazing. So Supernova Sydney is the biggest. That's like our San Diego Comic-Con. That's the biggest con of the year. That was on three weeks ago.
What's it called?
Supernova.
I think I've heard of that through Instagram. I've seen some
people.
Yeah.
So go to it. Sort of Supernova had their 20th birthday we launched at Supernova 2015, but this year was my 18th Sydney Supernova. I've been doing this yearly when it was way before it was cool. You know what I mean? Like way before it was
back
cool.
When it was like a small town kind of convention.
No. I mean, I think the biggest they've had 60,000 or so over the weekend.
Oh, geez.
We don't mess around, sir. Like you've got to. So with Australia, right? Sydney's like the biggest state. Like a third of all the population live within New South Wales of the country, or just under actually. So that's our big one. Supernova does Brisbane, Gold Coast, Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, Perth. So it does all of the major cities except for the Northern Territory, which is essentially Indonesia. And then in between, we do smaller. There's a lot of community gigs that we go and do, little country towns. Okay, so 90% of Australia's population live within 50 kilometres of the coast, right? And so the middle of the country is just basically empty and little country towns get nothing. So we've been helping to start little regional conventions around the place and help build them and organise celebs to come to them and stuff so that people can get the experience we get here out there and give them their first taste of it so they can come to the big smoke and see the real thing.
That's nice that you guys that they do like small town conventions because not everyone can afford like the big major conventions. So the fact that you guys want to have small town cons out there to go to there and show people what you do is really nice.
But dude, you got to spread the word. Like, okay, so the funny thing is, right? You and I chose in our childhood to be nerds and hide inside and watch TVs and movies and play games, right?
Right.
The whole world has been forced to live our lifestyle for 2 years. Everyone's been locked at home with nothing to do but watch Netflix, right?
Right.
And so the world are becoming nerds, okay? So I do a lot of conventions. We do 17 conventions a year. We're doing 17 this year, from Rockhampton down to Melbourne, across to Perth. We did a gig in Coonabarabran a couple of weeks, or about a month ago. That's a town of 2,500 people. And we had 700 people over the day come through what we were doing and the dinner that night stuff. So it's just about spreading our message, spreading a love of nerd, embracing your nerd. Country town gigs are great because it's the one day of the year they can let their freak flag fly without copping crap for it. Right? I lived in a country town. I was a DJing, baseball cap wearing, fat. I was 180 kilos, basketball player in a country town full of hardcore rednecks that strap dead animals to the front of their cars. Right? So I know how hard it is being a nerd out there. So by doing that, we're giving everyone, the beauty of this job is we're fulfilling dreams. We teach people how to use a lightsaber. That's rad, so it's everything we do. It's just about making people feel happy and feel more comfortable in themselves.
Nice. Now, about your lightsabers, do you make them yourself, or how do you go about
No, we are
lightsabers?
99.98% Australian made and source. I left mine in the car. What have I got here? There's a few. Oh, here we go. This is a nice one.
Ooh.
Okay. This is a wood saber.
Wait,
It's
that's
made out
that's
of,
wood?
that's wood. That's
Holy.
I'm trying to.
Oh, I
There
see
you go.
it. Like, holy shit! I've never seen a lightsaber handle made out of wood before. What kind of wood is that?
Okay, so the story. Okay, I used to import sabers because when I started, there was no saber scene in Australia at all. This was an absolute first time. There were a few saber nerds kicking around in dark corners, but it wasn't a thing, right? So I bought everyone else's sabers and broke them purely because this is a commercial operation. We do 30 odd lessons a week. Plus we go to conventions all weekend. Our sabers go underneath aircraft. We do saber tossing. So this sort of stuff. I don't know. We'll see if we can get it in the video.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Watch how long before I catch it.
Whoa.
So we throw them up in the air, 20, 30 foot, and we drop them a lot because we're klutzers, because we suck. So we actually had to develop our own. I needed to develop a reliable tool for my business, right? So my designer used to be an armourer for the Australian Army. He was the guy that used to hand make all the sniper rifles and stuff, right? We've created an air-cooled lightsaber, right?
Oh, what?
So you can knock it out of a 20-story building onto concrete and it works. Battery life is 6 to 20 odd hours, depending on the color, before it needs a recharge. Continuous use. I recharge, I'll be at a con for 8 hours. I recharge my saber at night and it's on all day, beginning to end, sitting on a table.
I mean, the fact that you could just drop it out of a tall story building, it's like no scratches, no bends or nothing. Because I've seen.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Listen. Don't care, dude.
And it's still on. It's no bend. Damn.
So we teach like saber tossing and stuff, right? When people are learning to saber toss, they'll drop a saber 100 times a lesson.
I mean, and those sabers are meant for dueling and everything too.
Dude, okay, so we teach theatre combat, okay? I did my initial training with the fight choreographer from Star Wars. So the theatre combat system we use is the same system that was used on set for episodes 2 and 3. Right.
Nice.
So much so that when Kenobi came out, my instructors sat at home with a pen and paper and wrote out the choreography as they were watching it. Right. So what we teach is the system, right? And so what happens is we teach European longsword, which is your traditional Star Wars style. We teach gaffy stick.
F6, yes.
So I presume you found us via the Temuera Morrison.
Yeah, that's how I was looking on Instagram stories, not like the people I follow, but like where you can see anyone's posts. And that's how I saw you guys. I saw the Tamora Morrison video where you made him his own personalized gaffy stick.
I would like to give you one of our gaffy sticks.
Wow, thank you very much.
Full combat gaffy stick, squidgy ends, so you can stab people when it doesn't hurt.
Stab people and it doesn't hurt them. Wow, look at that. Just step back a bit. Just step back a bit with that camera. Sweet.
Awesome.
Well, you see, we're lucky because we tour with Supernova. Actually, here we go. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll take you on a little tour of the temple.
Yeah, for those who are watching, will probably love this.
Okay, so can I make my screen big for a second so I can see what I'm doing? There we go. Okay, so this is the temple. Okay, I haven't got the lights on yet, but basically, that's the counter. These are artworks by the amazing Mr. Mark Ratz. He's a Lucasfilm artist and a good friend of mine.
Wow, it's just really good work.
We've got, yeah, he did the DVD covers for Indiana Jones and stuff. Okay, so our celeb wall. I'll give you a highlight reel of our celeb wall. We've got, okay, that's Kevin Eastman, the creator of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Nice.
These are all people we've given sabers to. Have you seen Vikings?
I have, yes. I've seen the TV show, yes.
Okay. We gave a saber to Travis
Hrothgar Lothbrok. Nice.
He even bought one for his kids. Okay.
Nice.
Jason Momoa. Sean Astin. My man, Kevin Smith.
And I swear I just saw one with Stan Lee.
Yes, he's our honorary Grand Master. We've still got to put the little black morning curtains on here. We haven't had a chance to do it yet. We've been busy. Chuck Norris. John Travolta.
Nice.
Okay, so that's Mark Ratz. That's the Lucasfilm artist. That's a pic he did of me a couple of years ago. Who else have we got? Carrie Ewells, the Dread Pirate Roberts.
I think it's pretty cool the fact that you guys like give these actors their own personal lightsabers.
Yeah, well, if you go on our YouTube, I'm just about to share all the presentations. People are like, we've had a couple of big presentations in the last few months, 10 being the obvious one. There we go. I'm back. Make sure you can see, Jeff.
Yeah, I can see.
Tem's the big one, but we just gave a saber to Michael Bean, who was Hicks in Aliens, and he was Kyle Reese in Terminator. And he was, he's in like The Rock with Sean Connery and Navy SEALs with Charlie Sheen, which was one of my favorite movies growing up. We got to give him a saber. We gave one to Tom Welling from Smallville. He's a lovely, lovely human being. Yeah, man, we've been really lucky that these opportunities have sort of come our way. You know, it's been very cool. It's good fun. It's a good way to live. I don't make any money. We're a volunteer organisation.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Dude, but it's not about money. You know, like I've worked hard for most of my life and I've got my family set up and this business pays for itself. You know, like it's not costing me anything to do this. I don't make money, but I get to sleep at night. Like I don't make money because I keep everything cheap, just because we work with a lot of disadvantaged youth and guys on pensions and stuff. So I can't go charging stupid money that it's worth and not sleep at night. So that's why we don't make money, man. Like we have students that train here for free because they can't afford it. Like I'm a really bad businessman. I just don't dig money, eh? As long as the bills are paid and I don't have to stress about it, it's all wins. And we have a beautiful community of people here that I love dearly. And, you know, like we've got 100 odd students a week. So, you know, and these guys, so, you know how I said we had Supernova Sydney? We took our team to Supernova Sydney for their first go of touring with us because we tour around the country, you know. And they all came down and did their first performances in public. And we taught all our students the Gaffy fire dance from Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, I remember that scene.
So,
4, 9, 5, 8,
We did that live. I haven't shared the video yet. I was stoked. Only one person stuffed up both days, and it was me. And I was so excited because I am too busy running the business. I've got to make the sabers and, you know, answer emails and do all of the business stuff. The kids run the floor here. D and Bones and E, they're my team. But it's a matter of just everything's chaos, but it's the most beautiful chaos. And it's so much fun because it's different every day. You know what I mean? That's why I love this job. You know, it's so much fun.
Yeah, you seem to love it. Back to the conventions. What was it like when you guys went to your first convention to promote the Saber Academy?
Terrifying, right? It cost me $250,000 cash to start this business, right? Because no one would take us seriously. I'm like, I want to open a lightsaber school, and people are like, you're on crack. And I'm like, don't worry about it. That's my problem. But I had to pay a year's rent up front. It took me 4 months to find public liability insurance because no one has ever taught theatre combat to special needs kids before. The business doesn't fit into a box. I've spent my whole life justifying our existence because we do very serious, very useful work here.
I've seen what you guys do on Instagram and YouTube and everything, and you guys really, you're the real deal. Like I've heard like Saber shows before, but I don't think I've heard of a whole lot of like Saber academies.
There's guys around, but okay. Don't get me wrong, I love Star Wars, right? Star Wars is the hook, theatre combat's the tool, personal change is the aim. Does that make sense?
Like, yeah, it does. We're
really not a very Star Warsy organization. You know, like, don't get me wrong, if, you know, Book of Boba Fett's on, we're like, yeah, Tuscans, but we don't integrate. A lot of my students spend their whole time in a fantasy world, like especially with kids on the spectrum, right? Spectrum is they live in their own world, and the world needs to conform to the way they want it. That's why
I can relate to that.
Okay, fair enough, right? So you understand what I'm saying.
I do.
And so what it's about getting these kids into a space that's a safe space where they can learn and make mistakes and get comfortable with it before they take it back out into the world. You know, and as I said, that's serious stuff. But you guys only see the, hey, it's Luke from the Suns, we're going here and we've made a lightsaber. But the mission this year is to show what we actually, why, like all of that fun crap pays for us to do the good work here. Does that make sense?
No, it does.
You know, like, dude, this business makes $1,000 a week, $1,200 a week just here. Right.
And it helps keep the doors open for more people to see, see what you guys have to offer.
Exactly right. You know, so you guys see the fun stuff, but it's time to start sharing. Like it's this place is really special, dude. Like it's really cool. People just come in here and blossom. It's a really beautiful environment. You're learning fun, challenging stuff. You're with, like, we have people here like Ash, who's her son's been training here for 4 years, and she started doing spinning and tricking with us, which is like saber flow stuff. She's never seen Star Wars, doesn't like it.
There's nothing wrong with that. It sounds like she is enjoying.
But she's a nerd. Hey, she's nerdy about the stuff she's into.
There's nothing wrong with that. You know, you don't have to be into Star Wars to be into what you guys do.
My girlfriend was the popular girl at school. She still can't believe she's involved with a lightsaber school. Like, I met her when I was DJing. Like, I've been a DJ for 30 years as well. And I was DJing and hooked up with the club, and she's a bit like, yeah, I've got a DJ. And then this nerd comes crawling out from a rock with a lightsaber. So I sort of bait and switched her. But yeah, she's not into it. You know, but
hey, at least she supports you, which is always a good thing to have.
Absolutely. And to be honest, if I was dating a Star Wars fan, I don't know how long I would have coped. Like, my whole day's Star Wars. I like going home and having not Star Wars.
I'm sorry, but Star Wars fans could be
dude.
That's a whole different thing later down the road. But
any pizza's good pizza, dude. You don't have to like. I don't dig chili on pizza. Does it mean that all pizza's bad? No, it just means I don't eat the chili pizza. Nice. You know, like, you know, but that's the other thing as well. You know, like I was talking about living in the fantasy. Like, for example, our sabers don't have sound, right? They don't have sound because when sound's going, people become a Jedi. The other fact we don't have sound is I've broken $15,000 worth of soundboards, and there's nothing on the market strong enough.
Oh
for
no,
what we do.
I've seen the sabers like you can buy at Disney or online, and they make that, they make the sound. But again, yours are more for combat, or like you
They're
said,
for use. They're perfectly balanced, right? Balance point should be 1 inch above where you hold it, which is there, and that's where you hold it.
I
It's
mean,
perfect,
you're
perfect
doing like
balance.
what?
And then
Nice. See,
you can just
go ahead. Oh, careful.
I'll turn it on so you can see me. There you go. So the beauty of this is you just do little tosses and flips and flip it over your shoulder and come in, do palm spins. They're made to be used. And that's the big point of difference between us and a lot of other saber companies, because ours are function over form. They're beautiful sabers.
Oh no, they are. I mean, you guys do what they do behind the scenes when they're having the actors, do the test fights for the actual scenes. I mean, those
Absolutely.
are, I mean, I know those are like, prop weapons, like mainly sticks that look like lightsabers, but they don't make
Correct.
noise. They do, what you're doing is exactly what they do behind the scenes when they're training for those fight scenes.
Because you see, the thing is, right, our sabers, our cheapest one's 550 Australian, which is about lower mid-range in the world market, right? But the thing is, for a lot of people, $550 is a massive outlay. And that's just for our basic raw aluminium. Once you start Cerakoting and doing custom leather, like we gave Stan Lee a 24 karat gold plated saber with his face inscribed in the leather, dude.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's like, each one's different. Everyone has their own saber. We're not mass produced. We're the Bugatti of I believe us as the Bugatti of the saber world. Like
each of your sabers is custom made. They're not, like you said, they're not like mass produced, like on the websites.
They're all made here.
Oh, so they're made in a store. Nice.
Next door here, where I am, is where I buy my metal. 3 kilometers that way, which is about 1.5 miles, is my machinist.
Nice.
10 kilometers that way is my 3D printer. I do the leather work and the electronics, right? So it's all small businesses coming together to make something beautiful. Like we use all genuine Australian leather. We don't do tennis rack grips. Ours are all hand cut, hand stitched.
Have you ever done like an in-person showing of you building the saber before?
It's on the list, but the thing is, the hard part is we're a team. Like I've got 15 suppliers to make a saber. I've got 2 machinists. I've got a 3D printer. I've got platers, Cerakote. We Cerakote sabers. So, the stuff they use on guns and stuff, like military grade stuff. Mine's Cerakoted, and you should see the amount of paint that's been taken off it just because we treat ours that badly. Like, it's a whole thing, look, I've sold over 1,000 sabers in 6 years. So, it's not like I've made 10 and I'm like, yay. But as I said, I'll tell everyone, I'm not a saber company, right? We're an education facility that happens to make the tools that we teach with, because I'm not like sabers. I just provide as a service to the community. You know what I mean? I'm not like, I don't want to be doing sabers all day. I've got more important work to do on the floor.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
So it's a very weird business model, but dude, they're beautiful, man. Like the Warthog, pound for pound, I reckon the best usable saber in the world. It's just beautiful, man. I've been using nothing but Warthogs. Like, I own the business, and I only own 2 sabers. I own my Warthog that I use for day to day, and I have a custom Asegi walking stick as well. Nice. Actually, just talk for 2 seconds. I'll go and grab a couple of things out of the car. Give me a sec. Hang on.
All right, I'll put it on pause.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So yeah, show me what you got.
All right. So I didn't get the big one upstairs. Have you ever seen Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise?
I have heard of it. Yes.
Where he dies. Anyway. Emily Blunt uses a helicopter blade as a sword. Mm-hmm. I've got life-size that helicopter blade, and then the blade slides off, and it's a full combat saber.
Oh, wow.
It's the coolest thing ever, right? This one here is my walking stick, right? Because I've got bad ankles. I played basketball for 20 years. So this is all handmade wood,
Whoa.
and then I hand painted it,
And
weathered
it's
it to make
got
it more
the
rusty.
when it's got the blade at the bottom.
Yep, and then take that off, bam. Put that back on.
Oh, nice.
Small wooden stick.
That is
And
cool.
it's actually an asegi, like an African spear. So you use it like a,
Jeez.
so it's actually still usable as well.
The sabers you have are like something you would see out of like the comics and movies and video games.
Dude, we just make our own designs. Like, for example, you know how I said my boy Dave was an armorer for the Australian Army? The emitter for the Warthog, my favorite saber, right? I'll show you something. Just got to reassemble. There we go. Right. So if I go, this is where we go. This is my baby. I'm a yellow man.
Nice.
Can you see all of the black marks on the blade? Are they showing up on the camera?
Not really, but
Okay, so there's all these black scrapes. I've been bashing metal poles at a con for 2 weeks, showing people how strong they are, right? So this one is a Russian sniper Cerakote. I've started doing hand tooling, so I hand tool the saber.
Cool.
Tricking pommel, absolute beast, man. It's a beautiful, beautiful saber. And I use this thing, I've had it now for, usually a saber lasts me, our internals, so they usually last me about a year, where it gets used all day, every day, kicked around, you know, under aircraft, in the back of a car, all year. And hilts usually last me about 3 to 4 years. But as I said, that's 30 to 40 hours use a week. Week in, week out. We have 2 weeks off a year. We run from January, we run from there, you know, the 10th of January through to the 15th of December. Bam, no breaks, touring, you know, like we're on the go. Literally, because of the floods, I've had to have 2 days off. These are the first 2 days off I've had in 8 weeks. And that includes 1, 2, 3, 4 cons.
Oh, geez.
That's what I mean. It's chaos. So that's why I needed reliable sabers, man, because I like when I was the ones I was importing, man. And the beauty of these as well, right? Because my boy's military, keep it simple, stupid. The sleds slide out, the internals slide out.
Oh, that's
So
like
then
so basically like a kyber crystal.
No. It's essentially like a mini torch, right?
What? So that's what makes. Oh, whoa.
That's our internal system.
So each one of those is a different color.
That's correct. So what happens is, bam, if that dies, I can pull that out. What's Bones got in here? It's an orange. That's too close. What else have we got?
So I think that's cool, because I know some like have like where you can just press the button and it changes color, but sometimes those don't always work. But the fact the fact you have separate cartridges of different colors, like a kyber crystal in Star Wars, is pretty cool.
It's like lock and load with a gun. When the shell's finished, pull it out, put the new one in, go. So that what happened is, when I used to have, because everyone else installs all of the electronics inside the hilt and you can't remove it without stripping it, right?
Right.
And so what happens then is, once the saber's gone dead, you have to plug it in, and you can't use that saber for 4 hours until it charges. Whereas, because we've got sleds, we just have extra sleds. So if someone's saber dies, you go screw, 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 boom, 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 boom. There you go. Fully charged, ready to go, 20 seconds. Because if you're in the middle of teaching a class, do you know how annoying it is to stop, grab their saber, go and plug it in, find them another one, pull it on? You just have sleds, lock and load.
I imagine you have a bunch like charging then, just for that, just in case that happens.
No, because our sabers, we only charge twice a week, because the battery times are so long, because they're air cooled. Like, I've had constant fights with people in America since we've started this business, because there's been a lot of snake oil salesmen in the saber industry, right? I don't know how closely you follow this, but I've been involved with the industry for 7 years, and I've seen empires rise and fall in the time I've been. And when I say empires, people making $10 million worth of saber sales a year.
Those who claim that it's the best saber, but like it could be like destroyed within a week.
But you see, they all use the same internal system. That's the one we broke constantly.
But the fact that you have an armorer who, you know, like where you could
These
just
are weapons.
where you can just twist it, take it out, put another one in. You have,
Yep.
you know,
It's
how
about
many-
reliability, man.
you answered
Okay,
my
so-
you answered my question about how it works on the inside.
But you see, that's the thing. That when I say to people, like I sit there and go, "Ours are the strongest on the market," and they go, "How do you know?" And I said, "Go back and watch all the salute. You should have seen how hard Michael Bean hit the saber. It was hard, dude. Like it jarred my arms. We've tried to have. Do you know who Michael Jai White is?
Yeah.
Martial artist.
Yeah,
We
he
gave him
also
the
played
saber.
he also played as Spawn in Bronze Tiger.
Absolutely old school, man. And he's in Blood and Bone, and he's in Batman. He's the African American dude in the room.
Yeah,
when
I'm familiar with Michael Jai White.
Okay, Home Slice has been training professionally as a martial artist for 40 years. He gave it his all. Like, but people go, how are you so confident? I said, because I use mine. I had a guy go, "Oh, you reckon your sabers are so great? What makes them so good?" And I went, "I use them." And he goes, "What do you mean?" And I said, how long do you train? And he was like, "I do 5 hours a week." And I'm like, "Buddy, that's half a slow Tuesday for me. Like, this is my job. I know because I do this day in, day out."
I mean, you put your sabers through a lot of like strength test and a stress test. Just, you know,
We just use them, dude. We just use them. I've had a couple of people go, "Wow, how did you get such amazing weathering on it?" And I went, "I used it." And they go, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, "I used it. I chuck it on concrete. It gets kicked around and dropped and thrown up in the air and missed. And
my next
day
question
in,
is,
day out.
are they water resistant? Like if you could like put it
No,
on the water,
because they're air cooled. They're
okay.
air cooled. But that's, dude, I know someone that's done it, but it's a gimmick, dude. Who the hell's going to fight underwater? These aren't toys. These are professional, like these are tools, right? You don't, okay, this saber has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 connections total. That's it. Most soundboards have 22 to 23 alone. We don't have switches. We use kill keys because I've broken every switch on the market. I paid $65 for a switch that is used in like rocketry.
Mm-hmm.
I blew it out in 2 weeks because we drop and hit that hard. It's not the hitting that's the problem. It's the dropping.
It's basically not a prop.
No, dude, it's a tool. Have you ever seen a mechanic reverently lay down a spanner when he's using it?
No,
Dude,
I've seen tools get dropped.
I don't care. I just don't, because we're tossing them around. We're doing stuff.
And if that had a soundboard in it, that soundboard would break.
That would be gone. I have a box of broken soundboards that I lay on a table. People go, "Why don't you have sound?" And I just point at Mount Bloody
like you said,
soundboard.
it would be a distraction.
Absolutely, man. We're trying to keep them in the here and now, and that I want them. They're here and they're to do their theatre combat and make it look good. And to make it look good, you have to put the hard work in and build the muscle memory first. Because when you're doing a fight, so when I say we do shows, right? We do our shows in the round. So in the middle of a convention, they'll rope off a section, and that's where we do our shows. So there's no camera angles, there's no anywhere to hide, unless we do. Like we don't, you know how you see the Marvel shopping center shows where you're there and they're like, like we block, make contact. We do hand to hand. We have knife fighting. We teach Balintawak. Have you seen the new June movie?
I have not. No.
Okay, the fighting style in that is Balintawak, which is a style. Speaking of which, there goes one of our gaffy sticks. Balintawak's a style I've been teaching for 3 years, and it's an offshoot of Filipino stick fighting, where you use short sticks and hand, and it's all very that sort of stuff. So we teach that. It's pretty cool. So and when we do our shows, they're in the round, so everything has to look legit Mickey Mouse, and the only way you get that is practice and getting muscle memory, so that when you're on doing the show on the day, because we do our shows in the round, kids run through when you're in the middle of shows and stuff. So 90% of our attention when we're doing a show is I'm scanning that side of the crowd, and Bones or D, whoever I'm fighting, is scanning that side of the crowd. And we're just fighting and just going, kid coming up. And we'll literally in the middle of the show go, stop, get the kid on the way, and then just go straight back into the fight. And then we're like, do you get what I mean? Because
safety first.
It's safety first. We've had 2 accidental strikes in 7 years.
That's a pretty good record, though.
Because the system we use is made to protect multi-million-dollar actors. So we actually teach you to cast the energy away so you can go at full speed and be missing constantly by 6 inches.
Kind of like basically like the movies.
We literally teach the way the boys learnt for the movie. That's what we do. That's what I do for a job.
Nice. 2 more questions. Your gaffy sticks. What kind of material do you use for your gaffy sticks?
Okay, so we're on to version 7 of our gaffy sticks. So, for example, our sabers, right? It cost me $30,000 worth of research and development to make our sabers, and $28,000 of that was breakage. Use it till it breaks, find out why, rebuild it. Use it till it breaks, find out why, rebuild it, right?
And
so with the gaffy sticks, we started off having a polycarb body. Then we went to polycarb with wood in it, and now it's just Tassie oak. It's a piece of Tassie oak and 3D printed head and tail. But they're full combat. You can go hard on them. The ends are squishy, so you don't hurt people when you stab them. They're really cool, and they're balanced and light. If you saw the 10 video, there were no issues with that weapon.
No,
I
saw the video he did of his haka.
That's what I mean. Like he was using that as a perfectly balanced weapon. The first thing people always do is when we hand them a saber, they go, "Ooh."
I mean, that'd be my reaction too if I was headed a saber, to be honest.
But it's it was really interesting. We just did our first gig in Perth, which is on the opposite side of Australia from where Sydney is. It's the remotest capital city in the world. It's got 5,000 K of empty land that way and 5,000 K of empty ocean that way. And Perth is the centre for a lot of Australia's mining because they get a lot of the iron ore and uranium and all of that comes from Western Australia. And it was really interesting because a lot of the guys coming through were tradies. They were mechanics and guys that use tools all day, and we'd hand it to them and they would literally sit there and go, "Oh, nice," because they spend all day using tools. You can feel it. I've only sold 5 sabers. No, probably about 8 sabers overseas, because until you hold our sabers, you don't understand them because they're made for use and no one thinks about using them. So, so the gaffies, it's an Aussie, nice solid Aussie oak. So that's the same stuff they make bow staffs out of, but an Aussie one. And then got a 3D printed that end. You've got a little squidgy that end. So you can use it as like I could happily defend my house with any of those, like no problems. But they're squidgy enough so that if someone makes a mistake, you're good.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, back to your sabers, I still get over the fact that you have a saber, the handle made out of wood.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Okay, so I'm an old history teacher. You know how I said I was a school teacher?
Yeah.
I'm an old history teacher, so all our sabers are named after aircraft. We've got a Spitfire, a Mustang, a Hurricane, a Typhoon, Warthog, the Warthog for the A-10. That's my favourite aircraft. That's why my favourite saber is named after it. That's what I was going to show you before. Right? Warthog, right? See these windows?
Yeah.
See how there's one missing there?
Yeah.
This is why. That is actually the flash suppressor from an M16. So that when you shoot, you need one that's covered so that the flame doesn't shoot up. So Dave, being an armourer, because he worked on M16s for years, that emitter is the flash suppressor from an M16.
Was that a snakeskin I saw at the end of that?
Yeah, man. Yeah, like we do. That's like a silver snakeskin. It's cowskin that's been, pressed and stuff. But yeah, we do that. We do custom leather. I've got with your stingray, crocodile skin, ostrich. Because we're a small business, we just go, bugger it, we'll go and try something. Like, I'll just buy it. If it works, it works. We have shiny purple patent leather. We've got, like your trade colours, your reds, your browns, your blacks, that sort of stuff. We do custom leather, like hand tooling, whatever makes it sexy, Because at the end of the day, I'm covered in tattoos, right? I'm a person that as soon as they get a computer, they sticker it. You've got to make it yours. This is your vehicle for change within your life. It's got to reflect who you are. So that's why, like, we've got 300 different finishes, dude. Some of them are like full 24 karat gold plated, out to military olive drab Cerakote, out to bright pink custom painted stuff. Like, it's about your saber, like his ease here. I don't think her saber isn't here, but it's purple, like metallic spangly purple with a bright pink wrap, because that's her way of rocking how she is. All my stuff is all military because I'm a military historian. I grew up, I've been studying World War II for 40 years, right? So all of my stuff tends to be real military and simple and greens and browns and that sort of thing. Dee's our resident Viking, Dee, one of our instructors. He's got weathered nickel, so it looks like sort of old iron. And I'm just about to do him a hand-tooled wrap with his name, or his first letter of his name as a rune and stuff.
Nice.
Whatever you want, man.
What's the longest it took you to build one of the sabers, if you can remember?
It's how long's a piece of string, because we're not doing it in commercial quantities, because we're doing it sort of bespoke. We piggyback on other people's jobs for a lot of our plating and Cerakoting and stuff. Do you get what I mean? Because they know, they look after us. So the longest I've had, it's the industrial processes that take the longest. It usually takes about, because Dave, when he makes sabers, will do a run of 10. So maybe a week to do a run of 10. And then to leather wrap those 10 would be a day, you know, but it's that plating in between. Some of the plating can take 6 weeks, 8 weeks, depending on how busy they are. I've had other stuff get plated in a week. So you just don't know, you know. Usually takes us, I usually quote about 3 months for a saber and about a month and a half for a gaffy stick, but that's giving me wiggle room. Like my 3D printer, his main printer went down. So if his printer goes down, he can't make me gaffy heads, or, you know, because we're all small businesses, individual dudes, if Dave, my armourer, gets sick, he can't machine. So therefore that part of production will stop for 2 weeks. Do you get what I mean? So but usually about 3 months. Usually about 3 months.
Now, one question I've been starting to ask more lately, any experiences you'd like to share, like horror stories, funny experiences while having the Saber Academy or attending conventions?
I'm going to answer that as a teacher, right? So the thing is that when you talk about horror stories and all that, man, there's stuff that have been painful. Like, we've never killed anyone or anything like that, but, you know, having celebs walk up to the table and talking to them and having no idea who they are, that can be bad, but sometimes it can be good too, because they're so used to everyone recognizing them. You know, I'll go, oh yeah, how you finding the convention? He goes, good. You know, he goes, who are you here to see? And they're like, oh, he's here to see me. And I'm like, oh, sorry, man, who are you? But nothing's bad, because a failure is only a failure if you don't learn from it. Do you get what I mean? So I don't have stories. I have lots of fun stories, you know, like the beauty of touring with Nova. Like, we do 5-6 cons a year just with them, right? So we do all the major cities. Perth was the first time we've done Perth. We've been doing East Coast for about 6 years. Just getting to know the celebs, and it's sort of cool because I get to know them on a slightly different level, because I've been going to cons for years. I saw David Carradine at Supernova Sydney in 2004, Ooh. Right? Yeah, that's what I mean. The owner of Supernova, we gave him a saber. And I'm like, I've been coming to these things, I've been doing this. And he goes, he just leaned over in the middle of this in front of 2,000 people. And he goes, name a celeb. And I went, David Carradine. And he went, 2004, outstanding. You can continue. Because he knows you had to have been there to know that, you know what I mean? So, you know, like, it's just really cool things like, you know, Greg Grunberg he's Snap Wexley, the fat pilot in F7 and 9.
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars, he was in Heroes. He's JJ Abrams' best mate. He contacted us from LA and asked us to make a little 10-minute video for him. He's got a charity called talkaboutit.org, which is his son has epilepsy. That's JJ Abrams' godson. right, has epilepsy. Have you noticed on Disney movies now they do the whole flashing lights, mate?
Yep.
That's because of this charity, right? And so I got together with a heap of my mates and we made a 15-minute short film with John Jarratt. Have you ever seen Wolf Creek, or have you heard of Wolf Creek, like the Australian serial killer?
I'm not. I think I've heard of it once. I'm not really familiar with a whole lot of stuff from Australia.
It's a thing. It's a thing. John Jarratt, who was a guy in that, filmed it, and it was a finalist in the Cannes Short Film Festival, which was really cool. You know, just getting to know celebs is really cool. Just catch up. Like, I'm not there to be like, I've worked in music for 30 years, dude. I've had a night out on the town with Robbie Williams, and I've DJ'd with so many major acts, and you know, I've been around celebs for a long time. So it's fun just going there and spending 5 minutes with the person, not 5 minutes with the celeb. Does that make sense?
No, it makes total sense.
It's cool, man. Like it's yeah, there's no such thing as a horror story. It's just a lesson that needs to be learned.
No, I totally agree.
You know, so I know that's a very wishy-washy answer, but
no, it's a bit. No, every time I ask people that kind of question, it can go both ways. You know, it's
like I suck. I have absolutely made mistakes and forgotten. Like the worst one for me, just because I disappointed someone when COVID happened and everything was locked down. Because you've got to remember, like, we're not like Melbourne. We got locked down for 2 sort of 6-month periods each year, right? And so when everything sort of, hang on, what was I saying before that? I vagued out for a second there. What was the question?
Oh,
the whole, I suck. I made heaps of mistakes, like heaps. We had to move a gig, and we were in Melbourne when a mum and 13 kids turned up for a birthday party because the computer system didn't move the thing. That sucked. That's a horror story, because it's such a hype thing to come up to the temple and learn to use a saber that if it doesn't happen, it's really disappointing. I had a guy that had flown over from Perth, which is a 6-hour flight, to come and do a lesson, and I had to cancel it on him yesterday because we were flooded out. You know what I mean? The guy had come halfway across the country. But what can I do?
Stuff like that you really can't control.
I know, but I'm still disappointed for him, because I know how excited I would be if I was coming to a place like this. Like, man, this place is rad, man. Like, it's really cool. Like, the outside looks really, really crappy, and I particularly left it as crappy. So the people walk up and goes, "What's this crap?" And then walk inside and it's all laid out before you. It destroys expectation and puts them into a frame of mind where they can learn, because they're like, damn, I did not expect that. And you reset all of their expectations, and then you've got them at a ground level, and that's where you take them in.
Nice.
You know, it's there's a lot of psychology buried in. I'm an amateur psychologist too. You know, like I'm a welfare person. Nice. So yeah, there's all this psychology in here, and I don't want to disappoint people, man, because I know how bummed I would be if I've been psyched and I'm going to come and do saber lessons and it just doesn't happen. They're my horror stories when we disappoint people.
So last question before this: anything last minute thing you'd like to add in, advice or anything for what's like for those who are thinking about owning a business or doing what you do?
You suck. Just chase the dream, but do it in a very rational way. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I was lucky in that I got an inheritance from my mum. That's how I started this business. I was able to pay my debts off and have the money to do this, right? But before I committed, I spent 6 months studying the saber industry inside and out, buying sabers, testing them. Like, a lot of people, they have this idea that if you build it, they will come, which is how I absolutely operate. But most people forget to build it and just wait for people to come. You know, so if you want to do something like this, start small. My secret to business is organic growth, right? And what I mean by that is this is something that American culture's exported to the world. You have to go out and you have to make the money now, and it has to be done, and you have to have X amount by this point or you're a failure. And it's this real driven where you have an agenda from the second you open the door, that you have an agenda to make as much money as possible, right? This business has, look, as I said, don't get me wrong, I'm not in the poorhouse. Like, it pays for itself. You know, I get to travel Australia on it, and it pays for my flights and food and all that sort of stuff. But start small and let it grow into what it needs to be, not what you want it to be. Take your time, make sure you do your research. I was very different because I was the first. I had to outlay the money to build this facility. Otherwise, people wouldn't take it seriously. If I was doing it in a scout hall once a week with a hung up banner, that's naff. Do you get what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I needed to plant the flag and go, this is nerd Valhalla. This is where you come to get your nerd on. And I had to spend that money. But now that I've done it, it's taken seriously enough that I'm currently helping 3 schools in Australia to open up their version of the Suns. I can't franchise this business because my 2 main staff, Dee and Bones, they've been with me for 4 years now, and they're 80% of where I want them, because you have to learn psychology and being able to read body language and dealing with special needs and touring and speaking to people. And, our phone call can go from speaking to a dude with moderate disability on the phone to the CEO of the company in the space of 5 minutes. That's a skill, to be able to switch. Do you know De Bono's hat theory?
Mm-hmm. No, I don't.
Right. Our whole life here is De Bono's hat theory, because the business has grown into what it is. And it's nice, man. We have celebs come here and visit us. We tour. So a good friend of the Suns is Stephen Hunter, who was Bombor in The Hobbit. We made him an honorary member down in Sydney. He's a sweetheart. Another mate of ours is Matt Doran, who was the death stick dealer. You want to buy some death sticks? Him. And he was also Mouse in The Matrix.
Yep,
We're going on tour with him up to Merrill. We're taking him on tour with us to go and do a regional con in a couple of weeks.
Nice.
So it's just follow the dream, but do it rationally. Start small and let it build. Don't artificially inflate it, because I couldn't sell this business properly until I knew what the business was. Most people fake it till they make it. I did the hard work and chopped and changed and work out what it was going to be. I'm only just officially launching the business this year.
Nice.
Right. I don't advertise. I don't do anything. People find us, because I wanted to make sure I made all the mistakes before it got big. So that I've done everything now. The only thing that would genuinely freak me out now is if someone from Lucasfilm came up and said, we want you to choreograph a fight for Mandalorian. I would say yes, and then go in a corner, cry, get 2 days of counselling, and then I would start. Do you get what I mean? But that's the only thing. Dude, we've done TV shows, we've done press, we've toured. It's even the idea of going to America. We've already got the whole thing planned in our head, because we do 17 cons a year, and we've got different con kits to take to different cons.
Nice.
That's what I'm talking about, because we've walked the walk. Now we can sort of sit back and start explaining to people what we do and show people what we do.
Again, from what I've seen you guys do a lot, and it seems like it's all worth it and everything.
It's what, sorry?
I said it seems like it's well worth it and everything. What you guys do is you guys really enjoy it.
We've done it. It's fun for us because we've done all the hard work. It's just the kids know how to, pick apart fights now, and they're choreographing their own fights. As a teacher, the best thing is to see your students outstrip you. You know what I mean? And it's so good when you see, Bones, when she's our queen of spins. When Bones first came in, full autistic, wouldn't look you in the eye, lived in her room, hadn't left her room in months. She now tours around Australia and chats to people and meets celebs. And
you help get people out of their comfort zones, but you do it the right way.
And in a loving way. Because the thing is, at the end of the day, people will never consciously leave a comfort zone unless you're a cognitively aware person, right? If you truly understand the only constant in life is change, then there's no stress, because change is coming and you're prepared for it and it's fine, and then you just float where you need to go. It's about getting these guys, because once you perform in front of 300 people and make a stuff up, if any of us make a stuff up in a show, the fight stops, the whole crowd, we go 1, 2, 3, and they point at us and go, you suck. Because we do suck, because we're human and we make mistakes, and it's fine. We're modeling, I was talking about that message. We're modeling that message. But then we go back, start it again, do it properly. I often consciously make mistakes in shows just so everyone can tell me they suck, because it's showing the tone. There's a big difference between you suck and you suck, dude. Do you get what I mean? And I specifically chose that you suck because it's a trigger word for most people. Everyone's been told they suck and they hate it. If you reset that trigger, that instead of being, oh, I do suck, you go, yeah, I do suck. But I suck because I've only been doing this. And I know I can't do something, but the big thing we teach is it's not that you can't do something. You can't do something yet. If you say I can't do something, that's a definitive statement. I can't do it. As soon as you add that yet, that's when the world opens up. And they're the life skills we teach. And what we're re-teaching people how to learn and enjoy learning so that when you go out, because when you first teach someone something, 80% of their brain is like, oh my God, is anyone watching? I can't do this. I'm dumb. Daddy said I was dumb, whatever. So there's 80% of their brain going, ah, and 20%'s actually learning. So what happens is, as you keep saying, you suck. And they go, oh, I know I suck. And I go, no, you suck because you can't do this yet. It takes 10,000 hours. It's resetting expectations. Everyone wants everything now. If you want to do something like this, it's going to take you 10,000 hours.
And to quote Yoda,
you can get a good approximation of it. Sorry?
To quote Yoda from the Star Wars film, as he said, unlearned
failure, the greatest teacher is.
Unlearned what you have learned, basically.
Failure, the greatest teacher is. Dude, that's, we swear to God, Lucasfilm have a microphone in here. Like, have you seen Obi-Wan?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I finished that series.
You know that Vader hand blocking stuff?
Mm-hmm.
We had a fight doing that a year ago. You know how Kenobi's using Aikido in it all? We've got one of our instructors doing Aikido at the moment to bring it back, because I used to do Aikido, but my ankles are trash now. I've done 7 different styles over 20 years, but my ankles are gone now, so I can't do all of the jumpy, pumpy stuff. So all the kids have to go and learn that because I can't teach it because I can't show it. Yeah.
I think that should about do it. Again, Luke, thank you for coming on to want to talk about the Sons of Obi-Wan Saber Academy, what you guys do, and eventually, hopefully later down the road, looking for you guys to see you over here in the States for some cons.
Dude, absolutely. We're working on it. We're trying. After we do Celebration, our next goal is San Diego Comic-Con. Go and do lessons over there. That's our next goal after Star Wars Celebration. Just plant the flag around the place.
Hey.
Because you don't understand us until you meet us.
Nice.
Because we live this life. We live a life of knowing you suck and helping people. And it's really cool to share that with other people.
Most definitely. Well, I hope those who have watched this enjoyed this episode. Again, Luke, thank you for coming on. And as always, I'm Wendy Unknown. Thank you for listening. And until next time, thank you for watching.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.